Hello. Well, it's mid-February here in the greenhouse. It's a nice sunny day. I can certainly feel the warmth coming in. So it's time to get my early potatoes in. I've got a bit of a problem back in the kitchen. Last night I used the very last of my main crop potatoes from last season. So until I can get these things going, here they are, I'm a bit stuck for homegrown spuds. These are first early potatoes. I bought them about 5 weeks ago and they've just been in these egg boxes, first in the shed and then I bought them in here chitting. Chitting is quite a simple process. You just stand them upright with the eyes pointing upwards and let them sprout. These little sprouts that start to form, some of them are quite good. That's a good one. They just get a head start on the process of growing potatoes. So anyway, these are going to go in one of the soil beds here, which is a free soil bed. I can grow the potatoes in it up until they come out in May, and then I can put another crop in, some nice summer greens or something like that. So they work out quite well in the greenhouse bed here. The other place I'm going to put them in, and this is a bit of an experiment this year, is this container here. There's a technique, and you've seen it, it's all over YouTube, where you put your potatoes in quite low down in the container and then you build the level of soil up as they start to grow up. The idea being that with the earthing up, it encourages the potato plants to produce a big crop of potatoes, far more than if you didn't earth them up. I'll be earthing these as well, but this container will be an experiment. Now, I'm doing something special with this. You've probably noticed it's raised up on a slightly wobbly pile of bricks. I discovered a couple of years ago, I was growing chili plants in this greenhouse, and because I didn't have that much space, I had some chili plants up on a workbench and some on the floor. And I noticed that the ones that were higher up started growing faster. And within a few weeks, they were twice the size of the ones on the floor. And I realized that chili is a good plant that loves a bit of heat. Because warm air rises, and this is a greenhouse with a lot of warmth coming into it, the temperature up on the workbench was noticeably higher than on the ground. So I figured, again, as it's an early crop that we want, and it's quite early in the year, as much heat as possible. I raised this up on a little stack of bricks here, so that it's at the same height as my super chili plants were a few years ago. It's also a black container, that's deliberately chosen. That will absorb warmth from the sun that comes in. So I'm hoping that this will produce a super early crop of extra big potatoes. But we'll see how it goes. It's a bit of an experiment this year. In previous years, I've only had containers on the ground level, so we'll see how it goes. With spuds that you're wanting to get a big early crop from, it's okay to plant them close together. These are first earlies. If you were growing them in the outside soil, you plant them about 30 centimetres apart. I'm going to cram them in at about 25 centimetres apart. That's about 10 inches. Because they won't be getting massive and they'll be coming up fairly early. So pop them in. I have 2 rows here. You may notice there's seaweed on the bed. That's okay. I'll plant them well down below, and the seaweed will be disappearing into the soil by the time they come up and start to produce. So. There we go. So that's about the spacing. Pop them in fairly deep. So the more stem you have between the spud and the surface of the ground, the more potatoes you got as they come up. It's one of the reasons why you earth them up as well. So this is going in, making a hole here, a full trowel depth there. Pop it right in at the bottom. Yeah, just work the soil in around it. Good depth there. Potatoes and seaweed fertiliser, by the way, is a marriage made in heaven. Potash, I think, is one of the secrets. There you go. I'll give these a good watering to encourage them a bit, and that'll be that. And hopefully I'll have a decent crop beginning of May ideally. See how we get on. Okay, so here's my raised planter. It's, as I said, it's raised up to maximise the temperature gain in this greenhouse through February and March. I filled it with a mixture of soil and compost. Compost from a compost bin and regular garden soil. I've experimented over the years with adding various magic potions to it, but really I've found that there's goodness enough in my compost that it doesn't need it. So that's also the cheapest way of doing it. I'm about half full. As the potatoes grow and the heads come up, I'll do the regular thing that you do with spuds, add compost and soil around them to force the plants nice and high. Then you've got a good depth of soil for potatoes and you get a bigger crop that way basically. So I'm going to put them in fairly close together. I think I'll get 8 in here. So. Choose the best sprouted ones, obviously. Let's respace those a bit. There we go. This would be close for planting in the garden, but in a container like this, you're just talking about maximising crops, really. So this will be fine. And put them in fairly deep. The depth of soil in here is about that. So I'll go 2/3 of the way towards the bottom there. Just like that. It's quite good weather at the moment, finally. It's been a bit wet recently, but it's looking good going forward. So I'm just going to leave this top open. If it was a patch of bad weather, and it might yet happen, I'd probably put a couple of sheets of glass over this again, just to trap some more warmth in and get these spuds going, but we'll see how we go with that. The container's got some holes drilled in the bottom of it, by the way, for drainage. Other than that, it's just a regular storage box, nothing special. Right, so there we go. Now hopefully, come maybe even the beginning of May, I'll have a good crop of spuds. Looking forward.